What are your views on AI?
They should understand technology.
Are these global certificates recognized well?
And SEMA UK, you have to establish everything from scratch.
Some specialized skills that you should focus on?
Has a curiosity to build relationships,
How has been your journey from start?
learn how to sell the ideas.
What are you looking for? Hi everyone. Today I have with me Mohamed Elrouby, who's been a known face in the finance community. So he has had extensive experience in finance, especially in the FMCG company. So he's had senior finance roles at organizations like Takeda, and now he's leading the finance team at Pharma which is the CFO role for the EMEA region. So welcome, Mohamed El Ruby. Uh, so we discussed about the background of this conversation. So this will help a lot of people, especially who are new to finance and accounting, to decide whether FP&A is the right career. So thank you so much for doing this, and I welcome you to this discussion.
Thank you, Asif, for inviting me today. It would be my pleasure to have an interesting discussion about the FP&A. As you know, that FP&A one of my key, favorite areas, and I'm sure to be very interesting and useful discussion for all the finance professionals.
Awesome. So before we get into the details of the survey questions that we have collected, could you share more details about your present role and how has been your journey from start to what you're doing right now as a CFO of a big pharma company?
Yeah, actually, my current role is the CFO for Middle East and Africa in a global pharmaceutical company. Its name is Pharmanovia. At the same time, also, I have another key responsibilities, which is a global commercial finance. So, global commercial finance is a person who is the FP&A for all the other commercial people, the other general managers. So, I'm working as a strategic business partner with the other general managers across the globe, which is my favorite area to be, the FP&A arm for all the commercial people. And I started my career as a management accountant in a startup oil and gas company almost 20 years back. And I was lucky, Asif, because it was a startup company. And as you know, that during the startup journey, you have to establish everything from scratch. So I was lucky to work closely with the CFO when I was a junior in building the full, finance function from scratch, building the systems, chart of accounts. So it gave me intensive experience in the beginning of my career. Then I moved to my favorite area as an FP&A in big global multinational companies like Nissan, like Johnson and Johnson, like Novartis, and I handled a role that managing more than 40 countries as a regional head of FP&A for big multinational companies like Novartis, like Takeda, like Allergan. And currently now I'm handling a global role. So it was a long journey, but it was very, very interesting and enjoyable journey.
Thank you so much for sharing that. So now you've done this for over, I think, a decade and a half. So what do you think are some of the most important skills one should acquire if they want to get into an FP&A role, mostly from somebody who is new to finance and is working in accounting or audit compliance related roles?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Asif, and I have been asked, that question many times, how to transform from being accountant or controller or auditor to be an FP&A. I would like to start with the mindset. So, because Asif, before moving to the skill set, I believe the big change from being an accountant to be an FP&A is changing the mindset. This is the starting point, and this is the most important point. Believe me, skills can be developed easily, but the point here is the mindset. So the mindset shift from accountant to FP&A should move, for example, from perspective or process oriented to be a relationships. So accountant always focus on the what is the right approval matrix, what is the workflow. So always focus on process. But if the accountant want to move to FP&A, should focus more into the relationships, how to build relationships with people. Because how can you influence people without building relationships with them, right? So the FP&A should focus on building relationships with the key business partners and how to build credibility, and then building a trust with all of them, and for sure starting with building rapport. Also, the second mindset, which is very important, is moving from telling to selling. Sometimes finance
Mhm.
professionals just telling people, you have to cut costs, you have to increase price, you have
Mhm.
to improve profitability. But this kind of mindset is not for the FP&A. FP&A should work as a coach, should learn how to sell the ideas, sell the initiatives, instead
Mhm.
of just tell people what they have to do. Also, from complete to simplest, sometimes accountants always talk about the accounting standards. We have to
Mhm.
follow IFRS 16, we have to follow gap, US gap, whatever. So they always focus on the technical part. But if you'd like to be FP&A, you have to learn how to speak the business language, how to simplify the accounting rules and the accounting principles and all of that into a very simple business language, how to present your financials in a simple way using different techniques of storytelling. So this is also another of mindset. Mindset also is changing the mindset from telling numbers to telling stories, from working behind computer screen and sending just emails to meet people face to face, have conversation with people, building rapport, building relationships. All of that are very important change in mindset.
So if I have to summarize, building relationships is the most important. Being able to move from the mindset of telling to be able to influence and selling the ideas is also important. And what else I did I miss? There was another part.
Yes, also from complexity to simplicity, Asif,
Yes.
from
So
challenging people to coaching people.
mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. So making sure you talk the right business language instead of talking accounting, and not just challenge your business partner, but understand what they need and then help them. Try to help them as as best as you can. So I think that helps a lot. So thank you so much. Now,
Thank
one of the question we get is that the most difficult part of transitioning is the first 60 to 90 days, because there, uh, in that period, you don't have a lot of support. You're usually transitioning and you're just taking up the role, but you don't get enough time to. Uh, that period is the most difficult, where you need to do a lot of things like learning the business, uh, building relationships, as you mentioned. So how do you advise somebody who's new in the role to approach the first 30 to 60 days in the role?
Yeah, I believe the first
Mhm.
60 or 90 days are very important for the new FP&As.
Mhm.
And I would like to just highlight on top three steps, okay? So
Mhm.
consider it as a top, three tips or top three golden rules. Number one, as I mentioned, and I would like to emphasize on this big time, building relationships. The
Mhm.
FP&A once join a new organization, number one priority is to build rapport with people and building relationships. But this is very important because how can you influence people in the future without building relationships, right? How can, as you said, Asif, how can people share with you the business knowledge, share with you the business insight without having a
Mhm.
good relationships, right? How can people trust you if you don't
Mhm.
have even relationships with them, right? So any new FP&A before getting overwhelmed with the finance and operations and the deadline for budgeting and forecasting and all of the FP&A stuff, focus number one on building relationships and building rapport. So starting with building rapport
Mhm.
with people, show interest. When you meet people, how was your weekend? How was your business? What is your current business challenge? Show interest, in
Mhm.
people and building, starting to build rapport with people. This is number one. The second important step in the first 60 or 90 days, Asif, is understanding business. The big
Mhm.
difference between accountants and FP&A is business acumen, business understanding. Again, before getting overwhelmed with the finance operations and deadlines and all of the finance stuff, understand your business very well. Because how can you get a permanent seat in the decision making without understanding business, right? How can you tell what
Mhm.
is behind numbers without understanding business? How can you provide business insights without understanding business? So business understanding is super important. And I can also share very quick tips like start, to meet everyone inside your organization, have a coffee with them, meet the salespeople, IT people, HR, understand your business, if you get a chance in the first 60 days to make a market visit, it's very important to meet your retailers, meet your wholesalers, meet your salespeople, spend time in the market. That will give you a very, very good business understanding. Have also conversation with the senior people like the strategic marketing people or CEO or whatever about the strategy of the company, what is the vision of the company. Also, you can also starting to sit with the marketing team, print out the product list, ask them about each product we have in our company or each service. What is the value proposition for this product or this service? What is the pricing strategy? So all of those stuff will help you to understand business very well. This is the second tip. The third tip, Asif, is to show to the people a quick wins. This is very important because sometimes FP&A, when they join organization, they said, yeah, let's implement a new APM system or let's build a comprehensive management reporting. But those kind of project takes time, right? So what you have to do is to think of quick wins. How can I show people quickly that I'm a person who can add value quick to your organization? Work on this project for sure, but parallel work on some quick wins. Like for example, show them a new simple tool for calculating the ROI for the marketing campaigns, right? Show them a quick dashboard highlighting the key business drivers or key sales drivers or something like that. So choose just people some quick wins and also work on the other projects on parallel.
So I really like the business understanding. So being showing curiosity and spending time with the business, and all the tips that you shared to do that, and also the quick wins part, which is a lot of people get overwhelmed with the initial phase on how they can show that uh, they are adding value, but all of those bigger projects take a lot of time and patience. But you could do some smaller things and start building those relationships. So I think makes sense. Now, moving on to the next question from the survey, what we have is, we talked about the first 60 to 90 days. Are there any trainings, certifications that has personally helped you, or do you recommend any certifications? A lot of people think that Excel training is very important, Power BI training is very important. So from your experience, what are the few trainings you have taken and what do you recommend?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question, Asif, and I have been asked this question in every seminar or
Mhm,
every webinar. So there are two types of developing the skills for the FP&A, right? And also it depends on your time capacity and your budget also. Sometimes the global certificates might be a little bit, expensive for some people.
mhm,
But this is why I want people not just to focus on the global certificates. Definitely, global certificates are very, very well, recognizable and definitely it add much value to
mhm,
your career and your CV. But don't only limit yourself only with the global certificates. Okay, there are
mhm,
also, as you said exactly, also there are some focused programs can also help you to develop certain skills. Okay,
mhm,
for example, let me talk about the small courses or development programs, and also I'm gonna talk about the global certificate. Small
mhm,
program, as you said, Asif, for sure, advanced Excel, Power BI, or whatever the BI
mhm,
systems that the company wants to use
mhm,
are very important, right? Because you have to deal with big data, you have to analyze those data, you have to, for sure, support decision making. So for sure, advanced Excel, financial modeling are very important programs any
mhm.
FP&A should have. Also, there are very specialized programs which I highly recommend, like storytelling. Very important program.
Yeah.
FP&A needs a storytelling. You are not just an accountant telling numbers. You have to tell what is
Mhm.
behind numbers, how to deliver inspiring, presentations, inspire people to take actions, right? So
Right.
storytelling is very important. Also, finance business partnering training is very important.
Mhm,
It will, teach you how to build relationships, how to turn the data into insights, how to tell, the right business insights. Those are from, training or focused training perspective. If you are in advanced in your career, you can move
mhm,
to the strategy part, how to build strategic
mhm,
planning, how to understand strategy and that stuff. From global certificates perspective, there are very good, definitely certificates in the market. The number one, which is very special, specialized in the FP&A in the market is the FPAC by the AFP. I believe this is
Mm-hmm.
very well recognized FP&A certificates. Also,
Mm-hmm.
CMA for the American one, and the CIMA UK also
Mm-hmm.
is well recognizable. And those are the top three, I believe, certificates for relevant for the FP&As. There are also some other small, or not, I mean, not comprehensive certificates like FMVA is also is good for FP&As, to
Mm-hmm.
understanding financial modeling
Mm-hmm.
and all of that stuff. AFM also, but this is only specialized in financial modeling. So I
Mm-hmm.
believe those are the global certificates that are relevant to the FP&As.
Makes sense. Now you talked about. I'll just quickly recap. So you talked about some specialized skills that you should focus on, like storytelling and finance business partnering, as an example. For that, you don't need certificates. You need to be able to find a program where you can learn those skills and then apply those skills. And then also you talked about the global certificates. So you mentioned AFP's FPAC,
Yes,
CMA, and the UK certification. What was that? UK
uh,
certification?
CIMA, ACMA, yeah,
Mm, got it. Okay. ACMA. Okay.
yes, yes.
So now that you're from UAE and the Middle East region, are these global certificates recognized well as they are recognized in the US? What's the difference that you've noticed in terms of the recognition of global certification in your specific country and region?
Yeah, actually, in the Middle East, there are two key
Mhm.
certificates. I'm talking about the FP&A. Definitely, there are many other
Mhm.
certificates for the other areas like CPA or CFA or whatever, but
Mhm.
I'm talking about the certificates relevant for the FP&A.
Mhm.
In our region, I believe
Mhm.
CMA by
Mhm.
which is the US one, and
Mhm.
ACMA or by
Mhm.
CIMA UK are the most recognizable certificates for FP&A in our
Mhm.
region. In Dubai or UAE, I believe CIMA
Mhm.
is more, the British one is more
Mhm.
recognizable.
Mhm.
In countries like Saudi Arabia, like Egypt, I believe CMA, the American one, is more recognizable. So, you know, it depends on the the community and the how the market is saturated with the other certificates. But I believe those certificates are very well recognizable. FPAC is more specialized in the FP&A, but it's still new because CMA and
Mhm.
CIMA are they are in the market
Mhm.
for tens of years. But
Mhm.
FPAC is new, and but I believe FPAC we're gonna get also a good position in the coming few years.
So, I mean, SEMA and CMA are more recognized in your region, but AFP certification is getting I mean, it will get bigger and bigger because it is new right now.
New
Understood.
and specialized in the very focused
Yes,
on the FND. Yes, yes.
yes. And also, I liked the other ones that you talked about, FMBA and the financial
AFM.
modeling certification, which are very focused on financial modeling. We talked about the certification and the skills. Let's now move to, if you have to hire a team member as an FP&A analyst, what are few qualities or skills you are looking for? So maybe you can share experiences. You must have interviewed maybe tens of candidates. So maybe from those experiences, if you can share, what are you looking for in FP&A freshers as analysts?
That's a very good question,
Mhm.
Asif. I believe when I hire any FP&A, I
Mhm.
focus number one on the mindset because I believe skill set could be developed as we mentioned
Mhm.
through advanced training programs or
Mhm.
through coaching and many other tools.
Mhm.
But I believe mindset is number one priority when we hire any new FP&A candidate. So I always looking for someone always thinking to or have the curiosity, to understand business, has the curiosity to build relationships, curiosity to learn and develop. This is very important things.
Mhm.
This is why I like people who are always eager to learn, to develop, and
Mhm.
always, asking how can I improve myself? How can I improve my business?
Mhm.
This is also very important mindset. The second
Mhm.
mindset for FP&A, it should be for a people who are, I don't want to say extrovert people, but if people just prefer to stay behind computer screen, just
Mhm.
work in the back office, this is not the the right candidate for the FP&A. So
Mhm.
FP&A should be someone keen to speak to people, build relationships with them, asking people the right question. These are the very important mindset. Also, if the person has a good presentation skills, good negotiation skills, good communication skills, I believe those are the key things for the FP&A. And I can't forget very important now skill needed nowadays for the FP&As, which is technology savvy. This is very
Mhm.
important now. As you
Mhm.
see now, technology is evolving, everywhere
Yes.
and every organization.
Mhm.
So technology stuff is very important for the XP&A. So I
Mhm.
would prefer if I have two candidates, one is has right,
Mhm.
mindset and the good skills, technical skills,
Mhm.
and another one has more advanced skills in technology. I will go for the person who has more advanced, technology skills.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that FP&A should be a programmer or a developer, but I'm saying
Mhm.
FP&A should understand technology.
Technology.
What does it mean by ERP? What does it mean by APM? How AI can help FP&A? How can
Mhm.
RPA help the FP&A? So I need
Mhm.
someone has a mindset of understanding how technology can
Mhm.
help finance, having the mindset of data management. I'm talking about the basics, basics of
Yeah.
linking technology with our business, with our data.
So the mindset is more important than the skills because those can be learned. And you're looking for people who are curious and also who can understand technology, who may not be may not be programmers, but people who can learn and use technology is what I understand.
Yes, correct. Plus, definitely
Mhm.
business acumen, storytelling, negotiation skills,
Yes.
communication skills
Yes.
are very important as well.
So now we talked about the qualities that you're looking for. Now, if you have only so if you're interviewing somebody, say you're interviewing me just as a hypothetical case, and you have to check that in a span of 30 minutes, which is very difficult. So what are the few questions you would ask to judge these skills? So maybe if you can share two or three questions that you typically ask in your interviews.
I always keen to hear from the candidates about their realistic and practical situations that they already faced.
Mhm.
I don't ask people just theoretical or technical question. I like
Mhm.
people to share with me a real and actual situations they already faced. So
Mhm.
when I talk about relationships, I'll
Mhm.
tell them, what is what is your current relationships with your current stakeholders. If I asked
Mhm.
your key stakeholders or your key business partners to give me one word about you, so what would they say?
Mhm.
Something like that. So I need to see
Mhm.
how his or she's relationships with their stakeholders. Okay,
Mhm.
regarding business acumen, also I will ask. I usually ask him a couple of
Mhm.
questions about their business. So if they answer it with a
Mhm.
deep business understanding, it will give me,
Mhm.
impression that this person understand his or her company very well. Technology also, I will ask some, practical question. Did you implement new, system before?
Mhm.
Did you initiate new tool to help your organization? So I always ask people to share a practical and real life, case studies
Mhm.
they already experience in their career.
Got it. So more focus on what they have experienced. Have they had those experiences as business partners and working with technology? So thank you so much. Before we let you go, one last question now that you talked about technology. What are your views on AI? So how is AI impacting finance and FP&A? And what do you think? Will it? A lot of people are very quick, curious, and asking this a lot. So
Yes.
maybe asking a question like, will it replace FP&A in future? So what are your views? And then we can wrap it up.
Yeah, I believe, Asif, this is a very, common
Mhm.
questions. It's
Mhm.
everyone asking the same questions. I
Mhm.
believe AI will not replace people, but
Mhm.
people who knows AI will replace the people who doesn't know AI. This is the,
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
key
Mhm.
statement. So because there are some,
Mhm.
process and,
Mhm.
elements that cannot be replaced by AI. For example, AI can help us in automating things, saving our time, helping us to work more efficient, helping us in some predictive analytics, some
Mhm.
prescriptive analytics. That's definitely
Mhm.
will be done by AI. But who's gonna, number one, feed the AI with the right algorithm? People, right? Who's
Yeah.
gonna teach, you know, or the AI, because as you know,
Mhm.
AI is learning, like it's a machine learning, right? So it
Yes.
always we have to adjust and adjust until the
Mhm.
AI can understand our business and our things, right? So who's gonna do that? People, right? Who's gonna use the outcomes from the AI and provide business insights? People.
Mhm.
Who's gonna judge the outcomes from AI? Is it sense make sense or not? People, right?
Mhm.
So AI will not replace people, but people who doesn't understand AI might be, replaced by people who understand, AI or know how to use,
Mhm.
technology or AI.
Makes sense. So very, very similar to whatever has happened in the past when machines replaced manual labor, or when computer replaced whatever we are doing, all of those things on the calculator. So it's not that the finance jobs disappeared. It was only that people who learned using computers and Excel are now doing well. Thank you so much. Before we let you go, if somebody wants to reach out to you, what would be the best way? And I also know you do a lot of training, and you're associated as a faculty with HOFT group. So if people have to reach out to you, what's the best way? And if they have to explore any of the programs that you offer, how can they reach out to you?
I believe my LinkedIn profile.
Mhm.
Just if anyone interested to connect with me, just
Mhm.
follow me on LinkedIn or send me directly on my LinkedIn.
Mhm.
I'll always be available and happy to help anyone who wants to transform their career.
Awesome. So we'll put that in the description and wherever this goes as a video or a text. So thank you so much, and I'm sure this conversation will help a lot of people who will be listening to this and reading about it. So thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll catch up soon.
Thank you very much, Asif, and it was my great
Mhm.
pleasure to be here today. Thank you.